Welcome to A Dummy Does Oatmeal Sourdough. I have my sourdough starter here, and we are going to get it ready to use. Before we can make bread, I like to feed my starter, placing an even amount of starter, flour, and water into a new container. 90 grams flour, 90 grams water, 90 grams starter. This keeps my starter separate and always the same amount. I then mix the rest of my starter with equal parts flour and water, setting it aside for a few hours to activate. I used here roughly half a cup of flour and about a third a cup of water. Alright, next we're going to put about 3/4 of a cup of the Super Grains Original. And a half a cup of hot water. Give that a good mix. Mix that all up. I think we're going to put in just a little bit more hot water. Just like a couple tablespoons or something. Just enough so that it has something to absorb. Mix that up. And wrap it. It's been about 2 hours and our starter is doubled in size, so we're getting ready to use it. About here, it was like here. So we're gonna wait 20 minutes and then jump in and put this in. We're going to throw in 1 cup of flour. That's great, Emmy. 1 teaspoon of salt. One and a half teaspoons of sugar. Our starter. Use whatever you'd like to mix with. Some people recommend wooden spoons. I like to use a fork. You don't have to. I like to throw in some olive oil. I'm not putting in half a cup, I'm putting in about a tablespoon. Maybe a bit more. 1.5 tablespoons, give or take. It's a very imprecise process, so just you can kind of see how much there is in there. So mix this all up. So we're going to stick a bit more flour in it. There's about 1/4 cup of flour, maybe a bit less. And we can get it a little less sticky. Incorporate your ingredients in the bowl, adding more flour if it's too sticky. Continue to mix the flour in slowly till just incorporated. You should have a somewhat sticky lump or ball of dough that you're going to let rest for about 20 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to start the kneading process. That's what it looks like. Let's get some flour. Starting with about a cup of flour. Let's just put some in there.
flour on it. Let's just give it a knead.
You're going to knead the dough for about 5 minutes, using a rocking motion with your hips, folding the outer edges of the dough into the center. And most likely this process will attract your children.
What are you making?
I'm making some bread.
And you're making some pizza.
Back up a little bit. Back up. Here we go. Oh no, that's we're gonna use that later, okay?
Yeah,
Great. Don't touch the table, please. Don't shake the camera. We're recording a video so we can share it with other people, so they can see how a dummy makes bread.
Continue kneading till the dough becomes very soft. Add more flour as you need if it's too sticky. Be careful over flouring, as you will make a dry, tough bread. I may have erred on the sticky side here with this one, but I think that's my personal preference.
Good. So, you can see it's pulling on my hands a little bit. See it? So it's a little sticky, but it's super soft. It's sort of a technique I learned when I worked at a pizza place. There you go. Now we're going to clean this and put a little olive oil in it. So I used about just over half a cup of flour. We're done with that.
You will be placing the dough in a warm spot to rise. If you do not have a warm spot, you can preheat your oven to its lowest setting, turning it off before you place your dough inside. If you do this method, leave the door open about 10 minutes so that some of the heat can escape after placing your dough in.
A little bit of olive oil, about a tablespoon. You can see, just so it's on the bottom of the bowl. Ooh, yeah, still a little sticky. See? A little residue, waste. And pump that in there. There we go. Stick it in the oven with the light on. Alright. It's been about 2 hours and almost 15 minutes. We're going to take our dough out and squash it down.
Fold the dough like you're folding an envelope, and then we'll shape it back into a ball.
Stick it back in our oven. Alright, let's do the baking.
Here I'm using a baking stone lined with cornmeal. If you don't have a baking stone, then just use a standard baking tray.
Alright, you got a nice ball of dough. Cans out real nice, you can see, look, beautiful. Just stick that on there. Alright. We're going to take a knife and just slice into it. There we go. Some good, nice little claw marks. And now we're pretty much ready to bake it. So, bake 350. Turn our light off. Take our bread. Put it in the oven. There you go. We got 2 racks in the oven. So 1, 2, second rack. Just put it in there. Good to go. So we're going to take it out in 30 minutes. There we go. And then I'm going to stick it back in, facing the other direction, just on the rack. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes on the rack. We're going to take it out. There we go. Nice and browned. And we're done with the oven, so we can turn it off. Yeah, that's a good test. Is it hollow? Kind of sounds like it. Get a nice wire rack and just place it on it until it cools. And there you have it.
We couldn't wait for it to cool, so we dug in a bit early. It was really soft and delicious. A couple of notes: I probably could have added a bit more flour during the kneading process, as the oatmeal makes it super moist. It could have risen a bit longer after I pressed it down to give it a bit more rise. The oven did not let it rise very much. Alright, that's it for this dummy. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. Hopefully I'll be back as the test dummy for more projects. Good night and God bless.